Hola! In today's video, one of the last videos of Love Stories with Grady, we are going to be talking about how to handle conflict. But first, I have a story. Once upon a time, there was a man and a woman, and they were driving down the road in a state with a Krispy Kreme. They were just loving life, and they were engaged to be married, and they were so pumped. However, one of the key things is they'd never had to handle conflict before. They'd been mostly aligned on every single viewpoint that they had, and so they never had to really figure out how to handle conflict. Well, as they're driving by a Krispy Kreme, the woman says, "Man, I would love to go to a Krispy Kreme." And the husband gets just so ticked off. He's throwing his newspaper to the back of the car. He's slamming the steering wheel. He's crashing into other cars. He's biting on the steering wheel. He is gouging out his eyes. He is hitting his head against the window and cracking his head against the window. He's screaming in pig Latin. He is extremely angry. And the girl is so confused and scared and traumatized all in one instant. As things settle down, she discovers why the man did this. The man said, I'm not only ticked that you want Krispy Kreme and that I don't, but what I'm really ticked about is that we have a different opinion. And this man could not get it through his thick skull that he and his soon-to-be wife, which she broke up with him after this, thank God. But anyway, and this is a fake story, by the way, I'm not sure why I'm acting like it's real. But anyway, thank God that the hypothetical woman broke up with this hypothetical man. It was crazy though, because this man could not handle conflict. And so here's my question. How do you handle conflict? How do you handle small disagreements as well as big disagreements? Well, that is a fantastic question that we are going to dive into today in today's episode of Love Stories with Grady. Hola, I'm a 22-year-old man here to chat about your relational game plan. Listen, there's a lot of times where you're gonna have to handle conflict. When you have friendships, when you are dating, when you're engaged, when you are married. Currently in our Love Stories with Grady episodes, we are in our second to last episode of Love Stories with Grady. Yes, the next episode is the last episode of Love Stories with Grady ever. And we are almost to the end of this book, Facts of Life and Love for Teenagers. We're almost to the end. And the reason handling conflict has been saved till the very end is because when in marriage, you're gonna have to work through a lot of conflict. Dating, engagement, a lot of it might feel blissful, but in marriage, you will have to work through the conflict that arises when you are in close proximity with someone. That doesn't mean you have to always be at each other's throats. No, that is not the expectation. That is not what your expectation should be. However, it is unrealistic to think that you would never have conflict. Engagements are not always endless bliss, and adjustments are sometimes needed to be made. For example, how to deal with conflict. In life in general, you might hurt or annoy the people that are closest to you. And when you're engaged to someone, that is someone who is probably the closest to you out of every single other person in the world. So for these people, when you are hurt, when you are annoyed, you need mutual acceptance and understanding of where that other person is coming from and what they're trying to say. The more emotional investment that you have in someone, the more friction points there might be within the relationship. This isn't necessarily a cause for concern, but sometimes arguments or discussion, hard discussion, negative discussion points over an annoyance can be a growing pain that is sometimes tough. However, a growing pain is also a sign of growth. And so you can grow through this and come out the other side better. The book says when one person always agrees with the other in order to avoid an argument, which this I hate this, when people aren't able to have an argument, when they aren't able to have a disagreement, because not every disagreement is an argument. I am passionate about this topic because I do hate when people can't handle conflict, and that's why this video is very important to me. There is a very, very, very healthy way to handle disagreements, and it's simply coming with peace, coming with understanding, coming with an ability to be open to what the other person is saying and be open to sharing what you are sharing. However, I just get so annoyed when I share my alternative opinion, they say, agree to disagree or whatever, right? They're not even able to talk about it for 1 millisecond. They have to shut it down, or they might just say, oh, you're right. And then that's all they say. You know, it's like, so you didn't even believe what you said earlier. You're just gonna say, oh, I'm right, just so we don't talk about this. That is not healthy communication. And you're shutting down and shutting up. For what reason? Is that really handling conflict? Is that really fixing things? No, it's just bottling things up and hoping that something goes away. Anyway, the book says when one person always agrees with the other in order to avoid an argument, the two are not as close as when they both dare to be honest with each other. As you strengthen your relationship, you will have increasing faith in it and will not have to spare each other the truth. So what is this saying? It's saying it is healthy to work through disagreements, and it is normal. It is nothing to be afraid of, and it's alright. There's a few pitfalls to lovers' quarrels, though. It's fine to have disagreements, but you must settle them in a healthy fashion. You need to give up personal pride, and honestly, I'm really bad at this. I'm getting better. I've gotten better over the years, but I have been bad at this in the past. Be able to admit when you're wrong, or even when you think that you're right. Don't be so anti what the other person is saying. And what I mean by that is don't always feel as if you need to prove that you are right. For me, I want someone to admit that I'm right. But also, funnily enough, I hate when people just shut down and say, oh, you're right, when they don't actually believe that. So, but anyway, I need to get better at that. I need to get better at not having pride, at not trying to always prove that I'm right. This is why maturity is important in relationships. Mature people don't always have to bolster their opinion or flaunt their thoughts or boost up their ego in an argument. When one person starts to blame and scold and nag and complain about the other person, it just causes the other person to shut down. You're stupid, your opinion is stupid, this is stupid, you're all stupid, voices raised. I don't think that's fine at all. It creates further friction points, and it doesn't create a good foundation for agreement. And if you have negative attributes, don't blame that on the other person. That's your fault, that's on you. Don't give in to the desire that when you are having conflict to hurt the person you're disagreeing with. And I mean emotionally hurt, especially, not physically. And don't get back up. You need to figure this out, just the two of you. Don't call up your parents and say, put you on speaker, what do you think about how my stupid spouse is thinking? What do you think about that? Or the stupid person I'm marrying? Or don't call up your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever it may be, and don't say, yo dudes, yo girls, my guy is stupid, my girl is stupid, tell them how stupid they are. That just creates disunity rather than unity. Don't go away and rat on your spouse, rat on the person that you're dating, rat on the person you're engaged to, and don't sow negativity into your friends. If you need help, go get counseling. That counselor can probably help you too way more than your gossipy, ear-minded friend can help. A good counselor can help you both process your blind spots. And a good counselor likely won't be just simply sitting there and giving you advice. He'll help talk things through so that you guys come to your own solutions of how you can fix things. So how do you bridge the difference? How do you bridge a conflict? How do you build a bridge instead of a wall? One of my favorite sermons from one of my favorite pastors is how to build bridges, not walls. A good relationship deals with solving problems and bridging differences that separate two people. So get the other person's point of view. Relax from your defense and just listen. Understand why the person is feeling the way they feel. Why did they feel that way? Even if you both disagree, being understood in your disagreement is so much better and feels so much more understanding. If I can sit down with someone and say, hey, I don't agree with you, but I can understand why you think the way you think, and if they can say that to me, that makes the argument a lot more healthy. And keep focused on the problem rather than each other. This might be hard. You might be tempted to call the other person stupid, thoughtless, uncaring, unthoughtful. Instead of calling names, instead of throwing those things out, instead of attacking the other person, a quieter, more problem-solving attitude solves things much better in the long run. Focus on the issue instead of snarling at each other. I feel like so many people can get better at this. Even I, in the future, will likely have to play this video when I least want to and learn from the words that I'm saying, because we can all get better. But if we truly love the person that we love, if we truly respect the person that we respect, if we truly admire the person that we admire, we truly do need to treat them with love, respect, and admiration, even in the hardest moments. When you feel tense, admit it and then talk through it. And when you feel prone to outbursts and anger, warn other people. Hey, I'm in a mood right now. Be sympathetic to other people. Release and let out steam. Go work on something, go work out, go listen to music, clean. Don't take your personal unreleased stresses out on your person. That's the last person that you should be pushing it out towards. Like, for example, there's so many married couples that bottle up their stress at work and then they go home and release it on their partner. That is so bad, so unhealthy. You need to figure out a different way to let out your stress rather than just dumping it on the person that you should love most. Anyway, that is a lot about conflict. I hope you learned something from that. I hope you really do evaluate next time you're in a conversation that is turning into an argument. hey, it's fine if we disagree, but how can we handle this conflict in the most healthy way? Because do I want to be the person who's yelling at someone, who is angry at someone? We can always grow, we can always improve, we can always learn. But if we are raising our voices and yelling at each other, what does that do? Does that build a bridge or does that build a wall? It builds a wall, right? And it builds a thick wall. The more you're yelling at each other, the thicker that wall gets. And the harder it is to tear down those bricks, tear down that pride and say, hey, I was wrong. Hey, we need to work through this. Hey, I am asking for forgiveness. Will you forgive me? Remember to always love. If you can love people at their lowest, you can always love them at their best. It's easy to love people at their best, but it's hard to love them at their lowest. If you can get good at loving people at their lowest, when you don't even necessarily see things eye to eye, you can do a great job at loving them at their best. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Be sure to comment below a few good tips for how to handle conflict, or share a time that you had to handle conflict where it went super good or super bad. Okay, I want to know. And then while you're doing that, be sure to click the like button, hit the subscribe button, because even though we only got one Love Stories with Grady episode left, I'm going to be releasing future videos about a little something something. I'm going to be changing gears on this channel, releasing videos about something else, whole different types of videos. So you want to definitely stay tuned for that, and it'll be fun. So when does the last episode of Love Stories with Grady come out? Well, you'll have to subscribe below to find out, or you can follow me on my Stories with Grady account on Instagram. The link is in the description below, and I update about my writing and all my stories, my YouTube stories on there as well. So you get to know all the details of Grady Weishaupt. All right, ladies, all right, gentlemen, I will see you in the next video, in the last video of Love Stories with Grady, and adios. It's gonna be fun.